Hey you guys, Morten Ostad here. Welcome to my channel. Today I am going to jump on a thread started by Jonas from Vinyl Stockholm. Great video, go see his video. He goes in depth and talks a bit more, at length about what he shows, and he shows some beautiful records and album covers related to science fiction or aliens in general, or spacecrafts, space, the universe. And I've since seen other people show records of that genre and that type of record. Some of them for the album cover, some for the title, some for the title of songs. I thought I would look through what I had where the cover initially is what grabs me as something related to science fiction, something that was used to be very close to my heart. I don't think the science fiction being made these days, my Star Wars and Star Treks and Doctor Who's are, in my opinion, unwatchable now, but used to be something I was very into, and I called myself a Trekker, not a Trekkie. There's a difference. There will be a couple of records I show where I guess the title of something is relevant, but mostly I think it's the album art that conveys something alien and something to do with space. Now, to start off, I am going to stay with vinyl. There are some really cool things I have on CD there, but I already got way too many records to show. But for example, there aren't that many Scandinavian things here, so I wanted to try and find something, but maybe I failed. I don't know. But we'll start with a Swedish band anyway. Now, there are a lot of records to show, and I don't feel like taking the plastic cover of all of this. So I hope we can still see what's going on here. So this is a record I showed not that long ago, Skraeckoedlan. It is a Swedish doom sludge type metal band. A record I bought around. Was it in December or March in Gothenburg? And you can see the spacecraft and some planets and everything. Very much a space theme. Metagalactic Void Honcho, Night Satan, Meteorb, Astronautulus, Cosmic Dawn, Star Squatch, Mysteria, and the Vermilion Sky. I'm not going to read the titles on all these records, but I thought it was very apt. Next up, so this is Danish Kashmir, the band, not never mind. Not very science fiction looking, perhaps, but it has one of my favorite songs of any bands ever, with a music video I absolutely adore, and that is Rocket Brothers, the first track here. This record I finally picked up at Licorice Pizza, the new record store in Aalborg in northern Jutland, Denmark. Maybe not the very space-looking cover art, but I just wanted to show Moon Safari by Air. This is my Vinyl Me Please copy, one of a record that's very dear to me. And is it next year or the year after? This record is 30 years old. And that was, of course, French. Someone has already showed the studio album, so I grabbed this one instead. The Pixies, of course, often has themes relating to aliens and Roswell and things like that, and UFOs. This is Bossa Nova and Trompe le Monde live. This was a record store they released this year, so it plays on the the original cover there. Beautiful, beautiful. I listened to this yesterday, actually. That's when I sort of thought, hey, I could make an alien space video too. Next up is a record that I also put on my record player to play again. Didn't. I went to bed. This is the latest studio album by the Smashing Pumpkins. And this album is called Agori Mori Mei, and this is the front of the cover, and this is the moon Titan with the rings of Saturn behind it. And I thought that's pretty space related. Of course, I couldn't make a video, you know me, without having something from whales and something from super furry animals. Well, I could if they didn't have anything relatable. They have a record called Hey, Venus, but I didn't think the cover art was quite as spacey as Gorilla, which isn't a very spacey title, but this guy, he's pretty spaced out. So yeah, this wonderful album by the equally or even more so wonderful super furry animals. Yeah, I'm actually going to the post office later to pick up a record related to Grefris. Grefris. I also got a record from him last week. There's been a lot of Grefris super furry animals related stuff from Morton lately. And that's because I love it. Here it's more just simply a wonderful photo, which is from space by one of my absolute from one of my absolute favorite bands in the world, Pearl Jam. And this is a Nebula, if I remember correctly. And the record is Binaural by Pearl Jam. Beautiful artwork there. Nothing on the back. I'm sure someone will have shown this record already. I haven't seen all the videos. And this is the latest half-speed mastering from Paul McCartney. This is or rather Wings. And this is, of course, Venus and Mars. Now, this one I know someone showed. I wonder if it was Gavin. Excuse the... I haven't really dared... this should be replaced, but I'm waiting, hopefully, that there will be a newer, nicer special edition coming out in the half-speed mastering. But it seems Paul maybe avoids this album and the previous one, London Town. But this is my original copy, and it is... Oh, it's not in the best of shape. But the record is actually nice to play. This is, of course, Back to the Egg. And one of the reasons I haven't replaced this plastic cover is I will actually damage the vinyl album cover if I remove it. Yeah. Yeah, this I bought as a kid in 1979. And I did not pay a lot for it. It was already in the bargain bin. Well, it might have been a few months into 1980, but this did not sell well. This is not necessarily quite as space or related, but I see it as a very science fiction evoking cover. This is Manic Street Preachers and Futurology. So I think that belongs here, in my opinion. Another wonderful album. It's already 11 years old. Yeah, I had to buy this on Discogs. It was one of the last times I got something cheap as far as Manic Street Preachers go on Discogs. Now, I know that I've seen a couple of you show this Iron Maiden album, and so I skipped it. So it's not this Iron Maiden album. But it's definitely an Iron Maiden album, and it's definitely science fiction themed. So this is the Final Frontier. And was this the last time I saw them live? They tend to not come to Oslo anymore because of our venue shortage. They played in Norway recently. I think they've been in Stavanger and Trondheim, opposite sides of the country. And if they don't play in other cities like Bergen, not Oslo, the capital of Norway, if they come to Oslo, it's usually at the big heavy metal festival we have here in Oslo each June, which is not this weekend but next weekend. Yeah, Tons of Rock is the name of it. So yeah, it's very spaced themed. Aliens, Eddie there for us. An album I feel is not very often looked at or talked to by the people who talk about Iron Maiden in the vinyl community and further afield. I like it, and I do tend to go to this one more than the next two, which I think are great albums in most cases, I would admit, but I think they're a bit overbloated and they need to start writing shorter songs. That's what I think. Now, because I couldn't show the record that I wanted to show from Iron Maiden, well, I could, but I thought I'd seen two of you do it already. I just grabbed one of them, and this is funny because Rob Walker keeps talking. I made a 7-inch video because I didn't feel I could do for Rob Walker the correct thing and show that the 12-inch videos, which is his thread currently. But I do have a couple of 12 inches, and this is one of them. So this is Stranger in a Strange Land with a very cool Clint Eastwood meets sort of RoboCop Blade Runner type scenario going on here in a Star Wars cantina. That was a lot of things I put together there, hey? Next up, we have French, wonderful, I love this band. They are really great. This was one of the first bands I started collecting solely on vinyl after I got a record player again. The other one was Mastodon. This is Gojira with From Mars to Sirius. Very science fiction looking cover there in a Dune kind of way, maybe. Next up, an album cover which I guess is kind of a science fiction prop. This is Foo Fighters with their space blaster or laser gun or whatever that he put on this really great Foo Fighters debut that I'm very fond of. Keeping it hard rock metal and that world, they seem to do like their science fiction themed covers. This is not necessarily space, but it evokes that in me. This is Dark Tranquility with Moment. I love this album cover. And it for me, I kind of get the... was that in Babylon 5 season 4 finale where we see the last human being on Earth just before the Earth is swallowed up by the sun, and then he leaves his corporeal being and becomes an energy being and flies away just before the wave from the sun hits and destroys the Earth. One last look at the cradle of humanity, even if it wasn't humanity anymore. That's what that picture kind of evokes in me. Wonderful Swedish band there, in my opinion. A band I got into watching the craft beer videos of Peter from Master of Hoppets. Next up, very big departure from the previous band. This is Coldplay with the music of the Spheres. And I'll do this one. I think this is a very nice album art. And Chris Martin himself said that they had been listening to, and he had been reading and listening and watching a lot of science fiction stuff when he wrote this, or they wrote this, and Star Wars, not least, was in his frame of mind at the time. This album cover does not look like it has anything to do with science fiction. Again, I chose this because I wanted a bit of Scandinavian in here. There's nothing Norwegian, unfortunately. But this is the wonderful The Cardigans, with the title being the reason. The first band on the moon. And is there anything slightly... No, except for Iron Man, maybe, I guess. And next up is Boston. No, not that Boston album. This is actually, this is their third one. And I think this is a beautiful album cover. And I was going to check up what this is. I think it's organ pipes as a spaceship, or rather maybe a space station, because I don't know if I used to think it's on approach, and then the Boston guitar, but I think the Boston guitar has left the rest of the ship here to go in for landing. So yeah, third stage. Not my favorite record of this band, but it's... I think I had this on cassette way back, and so not my favorite album of this band, but definitely one of my favorite album cover art, especially when it comes to science fiction. This is Astra by Asia. Now this screams science fiction, doesn't it? Next up, we have an album which was definitely a big departure from what the band had done up to then. And yeah, this is Arctic Monkeys with Tranquility Base. And I love this album art. I love this album. And my problem was that I felt that they kept this up to some lesser successful extent on their next album. An album which seems to get a lot of praise, but I never grew on me. But this one, beautiful album, wonderful psych rock and spacey themes and French lounge, and just, yeah, very different. But I sort of feel that this is the base, and it's built partly of it's actually built by the what's his name, the member, the main guy in Arctic Monkeys. But anyway, I love this album. I love this album art, and the title is really cool. Tranquility Base Hotel plus Casino. Here we have a cover which I guess is some maybe AI, robotics, future of humankind kind of dystopian science fiction. This is the latest album from Accept, and this is Humanoid. Also, album art I think is really striking, and from what I know, made by a human being. A lot of heavy metal bands these days. Click on the AI button, and presto, there's their album cover. Finally, we go back to a Swedish band, and not necessarily very science fiction, but there's a space look of it, I guess. I don't know if this is Earth or it's some sort of rendering, but I think it's a beautiful album cover, and the final album by ABBA. So I hope you enjoyed that travel, that journey through space with me. Please head on over to Jonas and his initial thread start there with his space themed video. And if I mentioned anyone else in the vinyl community, I'll leave them in the description. Links in the description. Just wanted to finish off by showing one of my favorite film box sets. This is Star Wars: The Complete Saga. Well, complete before they, let Disney destroy Star Wars with the subsequent films. And I think this is a really beautiful box there. Let's see. Anakin walking away and Luke foreshadowing the future. Yeah, anyway guys, thanks for watching. Please click like, that helps my channel. If you want to subscribe, well, that makes me happy, and I hope to see you soon in another video. Bye bye.